Welcome to Marriage Monday with Jeremiah and Savannah Jennings. The Jennings own Growing Green Landscapes and are very happily married. In this podcast, Jeremiah and Savannah discuss the wins, losses, good times, bad times, and everything in between pertaining to owning a business while maintaining a healthy marriage along the way. We hope you enjoy the show.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the
You didn't give me any warning.
Oh, this is what it's like recording a podcast with you.
What do you mean?
Oh, my goodness. Let's try this again. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast today. All right, you have to get serious.
Okay, I don't know why I can't keep a straight face. Actually, you're the one that can't keep a
This
straight
is
face.
real life. This is terrible. All right, here we go. Round 3. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and this is that's not good. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. Welcome into the Marriage Monday show. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, along with co-host now, Savannah Jennings. How are you doing this morning or afternoon?
I'm good.
Good. So, with a podcast, you don't really do one-word answers. You try
Well, you
to,
just asked
continue.
me a question. I just answered it. I didn't know if that was the intro.
Yeah, no. Come on, co-host. You got to step it up a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm learning.
All right. Well, welcome into the show, guys. Hope y'all are doing well. This is going to be the first official show of Marriage Mondays. We had the intro show, and then last week we had that was crazy.
Mishap.
Yeah, the place we were recording in our office echoed very, very badly off of each other's headphones. We were too close to each other, so we had to move. We had to move studios, I guess you could say, to our living room now.
Yep,
But
real fancy in here.
yeah, real life stuff. So, hope y'all are doing well. Hope you're having a great weekend or day or whatever time of the day it is you're listening. Just want to say thank you for tuning in. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, then you know me and you know Savannah. We've done a little bit of backstory there, but there's some old episodes if you want to go check those out, and you can hear kind of our story along the way. But if you're new and you're just tuning in for Marriage Monday, what this is going to be is a show on once a week. Every Mondays, we're going to come on and talk about entrepreneurship and being married at the same time, because that's a tough thing, and it's something that's not really talked about enough, in my opinion, and it's something I wish I knew more about when we got married. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to take it and run with it and see where it goes. Who knows? We're going to try to get a lot of guest interviews along the way and do our very best to just bring quality content all the time. But we'll see what we can do. I don't know if it'll always be the most value packed, but we'll at least try to make it entertaining, nonetheless. So
Yeah, I mean, we're not claiming to know everything about
yeah,
anything.
we've only been married a little over 2 years, so we're still learning along the way. We're using this as a growing process. We're learning ourselves, and it's just self-education by listening to other people and tuning into other shows and interviewing other people and all the fun things that go along with the podcast. So it's a fun journey. There's a lot of work that's involved, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day. So today's conversation is going to be on communication, and this is something we talked about last week. I kind of did a little pre-show, I guess, to say what we were going to talk about. Yeah, a little preview talking about this week. And communication is something that I talk about on the business part of the show. So the other 2 days of the week, on Wednesday and Friday, we do just business talk, business owner, entrepreneurship talk about just all the things that go along with owning a business. And we talk about communication all the time, even on those shows, between clients and employees and everything goes along with that. But I think there's none more important than communication in marriage. And without that, it's not going to be, you're not going to have a healthy marriage, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything, but I know that we've been married for a little over 2 years, and some of our biggest arguments along the way have just been failure to communicate. So
Yeah.
we want to make an effort to really fix that and have better communication in 2022 moving forward, especially with baby Jack along the way. He'll be here in less than 3 months now, so coming very, very quickly, and it's going to be
2.5 months. Yeah.
Huh?
I said like 2.5 months. Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 months. It's coming very quickly. So we're excited for that, and we're excited to see where that goes. But communication is where we want to go today. And so I guess we just have a few points we want to run through, and these shows are going to hopefully get better as time goes on. Like I said, this is just an idea we had, and we're not waiting around to make them perfect. We're just jumping in and going for it. So we'll see how they go, and I hope they get better. I hope in 3 months we look back at today's show and say that was terrible. We've come a long way in 3 months, but we're just going for it. We're going to do the best we can and try to give the most value that we can out there. So communication is something, like I said, very, very important in our marriage, and it's caused some of our biggest arguments. I think if you've been married for any amount of time, you will learn, or dating, you will learn that communication is one of the biggest things along the way. So I think our first point that we wanted to talk about is communication even before or at your wedding. Even when you're dating, you need to be communicating, because you need to be communicating and you need to be on the same page about your career path down the road. So in my case, I was self-employed and was going to be an entrepreneur from day one. From the day we were started dating, essentially, Savannah knew that I was going to work for myself. So it was a little different for us. We weren't making career changes. I wasn't leaving a full-time job or anything like that. I think if you're in my position, in our position, where coming out of high school or something like that, going into marriage that you're gonna be self-employed and that's what you're gonna do, then that's really good. But you need to make sure your spouse knows that, and you need to communicate that to her, because if not, you could have some really tough conversations, tough arguments down the road.
Yeah, and I think kind of where you're coming from as far as talking about that before a wedding or before you're married is your partner, your spouse, wife, husband, they deserve to kind of know what they're getting into. Not that, that should be a deal breaker. I'm not saying that, but I think that they should know what you're signing up for as far as being an entrepreneur and a small business owner and what goes along with that. Because Jeremiah and I are very different in how we kind of feel about certain things as far as that goes. Like, I could never do that. He loves it and he does it, and I support him in that because it's what he does and because he loves it. But I personally could never do it, and that goes along with what we were talking about, like stability in the paycheck and all that kind of stuff that we've talked about in previous episodes. But I feel like I'm thankful that he was honest with me before we got married, so that I knew going into this like what it was going to look like, and that it wasn't always going to look the same. And on the flip side of that, if you're already married and you're wanting to make that transition, it's still just as important to have those conversations with your spouse, obviously, before you make those jumps. Yeah. Because you're already married, and we believe that once you're married, like, you stick it out and you kind of take what comes and work on it and move forward. And so I think that it's important to have those conversations before, so you're both, like you said, on the same page about what things are going to look like, but then very important also after, so that that your spouse agrees and wants to do that too,
Yeah, you need to, in my opinion, you need to start communicating. If you're looking to leave a full-time job to jump into the world of entrepreneurship, business ownership, you should start communicating that the second that comes into your mind.
Yeah, that's not something you really spring on somebody. So I've been thinking about this for 6 or 7 months, and I've, got this and this worked out, and I think I'm going to turn in my notice. If you came home and said that to me, I'd be like, what the heck are you talking about? Where does this even come from?
Yeah, you can't just work on this. And that's stuff that I have to work on. I'll be on a mower 8 hours a day and think thoughts through my head all the time and think about new plans or new businesses or stuff like that. And then I'll just say it to Savannah, and she'll be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, where does this even come from?
Yeah, because
You've gotten better, but no, for sure that is something that can really take you off guard, because you're like, I thought this is what we were doing, and here you are saying you've made this up entire plan and for what you want to do, and I've had no idea that you were even thinking this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and along the lines of that and being on the same page, you also need to go ahead and iron out your goals and your ambitions. What are you going to be working towards? Because for me, Savannah's always known, I never really wanted to grow a huge landscaping company. It's not something I had. I've never wanted to. I don't want to grow some multi-million-dollar, 50-employee company. So she knows that along the way. She's not trying to prepare herself to go $1 million in debt to buy equipment and do things like that. But if you are trying to do that, if you know in your head, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, but I'm also going to be an entrepreneur that turns into a serial entrepreneur and starts multiple businesses and tries to grow $1 million companies, and that's something that is very important for your spouse to know, because that adds a whole different level of stress to their plate, in my opinion, I would think.
Yeah. Well, I think too, yes, you need to be open about those goals, but also, goals change and people's ambitions can change and grow. And so as the spouse on the receiving end of that, it sometimes is easy for me to be like, whoa, 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 that is not what we talked about. Where is this coming from? Like, I don't know what you're talking about or referring to, but this is a lot more than what we first talked about. But I think it's important to realize that people, you should never be totally satisfied with where you are, I feel like. And that's something that's probably more business related that I don't know as much about. But you should always be striving. Like, you can be content, but not satisfied.
Yeah, you got that from me.
Did I?
That's what I always say. Be content, but not satisfied.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. Be content with where you are and what you've been given and blessed with and worked hard for, but don't be
in every aspect
with
of
that.
life. In parenting, marriage, and business ownership,
I think that can be
in
true
your
anything.
job, in your W-2 employee, like anything you're doing, you should be trying to excel and get better.
So while you should be upfront with your goals and honest and agree kind of like, okay, this is the direction we're heading, I think it's also important that if in the future your spouse comes to you and was like, I think, what about this? Or let's head in this direction, or let's shoot for this, to not be like, well, that's not what we talked about, or I didn't think this is what you wanted, or, because I think that it's important to understand that people's goals should change, evolve, and grow. And it's important to be supportive in that, not just because, or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think I'm just saying, allow people's goals to change and evolve and support them in that. Don't question it or not be supportive of it because it's not what you initially thought.
100%. Yeah, you got to.
That was a lot.
No, but you just got to communicate when they do change. That's
right.
the thing.
Yes.
Like when they change in your head, when you're sitting there and you have a light bulb go off and you say, I want to do this next. I want to go here next. Talk to your spouse about it.
Well, and I think, not to call you out, but that's something that you do a lot. I mean, you are constant, like you said, you're on the mower and brainstorming 7-8 hours a day. So you are constantly thinking and evolving and not necessarily changing your mind, but just thinking of new or different ways. And that used to bother me because I don't feel like you communicated that with me until it was like something you had decided yes or no about. Mm-hmm. Instead of just saying, I had this thought today, like, what do you think about this? Or I've kind of been thinking about this for a couple of days. Like, what are your thoughts on moving forward, or any hesitate, stuff like that. I think that's super important because it kind of gets your partner in the mindset with you instead of just springing it on them. Because that was where, totally honest, a lot of our frustration and a lot of my frustration and some of our arguments came from is I felt like I was just being sprung on, like, you're just springing ideas on me, and I was an afterthought. Like, you had already decided what you wanted to do, and then you were kind of letting me know, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. This is the plan. You cool with it? Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you need to create timelines, too. Like, that's...
Yeah.
If I'm thinking in my head, oh, let's start a new business, or let's start another division, or let's do this, do that, in the communication with your spouse, like, I need to make sure and tell you, like, I don't want to do it tomorrow. I want to do it in 3 months or something like that. Like, give the other some sort of timeline,
right,
to at least base off. Because like we were talking. So another point that we've talked about in the past, but we'll talk about it real quick on this show, is having the employed mentality versus the self-employed mentality, and that's something that you hit on a few minutes ago. Was you have the mentality of you want to have your set paycheck, you want to have the stability of the job. Like, you don't handle the not knowing, the unknown of where's my next paycheck going to come from. Are we? The unpredictableness of business ownership, and there is a lot of that in being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of unsteady waters and a lot of tough times that you go through. But the thing is there's two types of people, and we're both opposites. Like, you're the one that wants the paycheck, and I'm the one that wants the freedom and the don't mess with me. Like, I want my own. I want to make my own schedule, and I don't want to report to anybody. And I think something that we were also talking about is the problem with. So some of our issues are I've never worked for anybody ever in my life. Like, I've never worked a W-2 job. There's no history.
Which is kind of makes you a rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
Breed.
I mean, if there's somebody out there who has also been in that boat, let me know, because we can probably relate on a lot of different things. But I've never worked at Chick-fil-A when I was 16. Like, I didn't work at a car wash. I didn't work anywhere except for in my business. I worked with the guy who started the business.
I mean, you've always done what you're doing now.
Yeah, essentially. It's what I've done, and it's what I know, and it's what I enjoy. But I don't like we were talking about Savannah getting time off to go places and things like that, and her schedule, and I'm just like, well, just tell them you're not going to be here, like. And she's like, well, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way, and we joke about all the things that we're having to do to make sure that I get, a maternity leave, and having a job secured when I come back, and like you said, asking for time off or switching days or asking for doctor's appointments and the importance of letting them know ahead of time and XYZ. And Jeremiah's like, well, just tell them you can. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You know, like when you work for a company that, you report back to, you can't just tell them you're not coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work like that. So I think it's just funny that we are so different in that way, whereas you've always had the freedom to kind of do that. And like, I'm a nurse, so I can't just not come in and then work on it on Saturday, that I have a set schedule with set hours. And if I can't do that, or we want to go on vacation, or we want to do something for the day, I have to ask in advance and get it approved before. And that's just not something that you've dealt with.
Yeah. So communication is just it's just in all of these topics. It's in, we have to communicate with each other and talk to each other about that, and not, like, we have to understand each other's point of view, because when I get upset because we're not going somewhere, she's like, well, this is what I like. Like, I don't want.
Yeah. Well, and so Jeremiah's answer to that when they don't approve it, like, so they did not approve me being off on Friday to go to Together in the Trades. That's this weekend. Yeah. They didn't approve that. And Jeremiah's like, well, you're not going. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, we're going to Nashville, but I can't just not show up to work. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, I was able to swap shifts with somebody, and, we'll be there Friday. But in his answer to that is, well, just you're just going to need to quit, and we'll find something for you to do. And I'm like, it doesn't. I like my job, know.
That's just how opposite I am. Like,
right.
In my opinion, I'm like,
that's how badly you would not want to work for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go figure it out. I'll go find another job. Like, I'll go do something else. I'm not gonna have people tell me what to do like that. Even though I have 80 customers that tell me what to do now, but it's a process. So I know there's a lot of guys out there who are dual income like one of you, like, you're the business owner, you or your wife, and then the other spouse works. And it's,
well, you both work, but
but
one
you work
of you works
outside
for
of
someone, and one of you owns a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of people who have these same conversations. It's not something that I know we're the only ones that go through.
Yeah, it's very
but
different.
The goal is obviously to get to the point where Savannah doesn't have to work at all, and we'll have all the freedom in the world to go and do. And but it's going to be a while to get to that point, because we still have to build the landscaping company. We're working on some other things behind the scenes. So a lot of fun things in the future. But another thing to communicate about is back in the beginning is, like, we got to talk about kids, especially as like, having kids and having a business throws a wrench in things. Like, for sure,
it's just been us since day one, and we're already learning about the added expense of kids, let alone the time and the energy and the commitment that it takes. It's just a whole new role. Like, you've been a business owner and a husband and a friend, and now you're about to be a dad. And that just adds so much, and obviously we don't know anything about this yet. There are plenty of people that do, they could give a lot more advice on that than we can. But I think what you're getting at is just how important it is that we communicate about that in our, I guess, like, our timeline, and, like, being ready for that.
That's the thing. Yeah, you need to get to the business point. You're never going to be ready to have kids. That's what we've always heard.
That's what we've
you're
been
never
told.
Going. You can set a dollar amount, and it's never going to be enough.
Yeah,
so
you can never
just have to do it.
Much.
But you need at least to have some type of planning along the way. And the same thing with, like, your job is, we knew going in, you're going to work for a while. Like, you're going to be a working wife. You wanted to work.
Yeah.
But you don't plan to work for the next 20 years.
Right.
Like, then you need to talk about those things. Is you got to figure out how to grow your company and how you need to do things. If Savannah is set in her mind, she wants to work outside of the business, outside of the home for the next 30 years till she retires, or 50 years, however long that is. She's set. She loves working. She loves her job. Then my company can kind of look a little different than it does now. Like, I don't have to grow it to the point where
like I need to communicate with you if I feel differently or if I don't want to do that, so that we can make the changes that we need to make, and you can do what you need to do to work towards me not doing that,
growing,
or me staying home. Yeah,
and making more money. Important. That's just part of it. Like, you if you're working outside of the house and doing things like that, then I can run a $50,000 business and be fine, and like stay home and help. And I mean, I'll do my job, but if you're set on that, then I'll audit mine the things by maybe working in the house some more than you do or something like that. But if you know that you're wanting to get out of the field, like, and you don't want to work for the next, when you have kids, you want to stay home, then I have way more on my plate to step up and do. Like, we got to grow the business to a certain point. So that's what we've been working on the past 2-4 years now. And it's something that we're still working on. It's a work in progress. Will always be a work in progress. But it's just one of those things, like, you have to, all these things come into play at some point in marriage, and even in dating. Like, we've had a lot of these conversations when we were dating. But
yeah, I mean, we were very blessed with, like, our parents and people around us that encouraged us to have these conversations before we got married, because we know that not everybody does, and not everybody has the support and people around them to encourage them to make sure that you agree on a lot of these things before you get married. But yeah, I mean, that would 100% be our recommendation, that we had all of these. I would say we had all of these conversations. The ones that we knew, there are some things that you don't even know that you don't know until you get married and until they happen. Yeah. But as far as like kids and thoughts on work and things like that, thankfully we did talk about all of that before we got married and felt the same. But again, I think it's also important to not be, not judgmental, but not like to be open-minded when your partner maybe has a change of heart or they feel differently about it down the road. You can't hold somebody to, something they said 7
things are going to change.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, we talk about get on the same page, but life happens and things change. I think the importance in that is, yes, life happens and things change, but just communicate
as it does change.
If you're starting to feel differently, if you said, this is what we're going to do with the business, this is my plan for this year, and then we start getting, a couple months into the year and things are looking a little different, and you're like, we might need to switch gears a little bit and try this instead. Okay, but let's talk about that. Like, you can't just make that decision and run.
Yeah, we said some of our worst fights came from the lack of communication, and a lot of it stems off of, like, when you have a good day and a bad day. And when you have good days in the office and bad days in the office, or when I have a good day out in the field or a bad day, like, when I have a bad day out, what is a bad day for me? A bad day for me is when a weed eater won't start, a mower breaks, we have a flat tire, the radiator's leaking, we break an $8,000 front door. Like, those are bad days for me. I don't come home in a happy mood.
Yeah.
Bad days for you are you're really busy, you have a ton of patients, stuff goes wrong, all kinds of things. You have doctors in a bad mood, you have traffic on the way to work, like, all those things can factor into your bad day. And if we just bring that home and we just walk in the door and we're in a bad mood like that and we don't tell the other one, like, we don't talk about that, then that plays into your whole rest of your night.
100%. Because the amount of times, talking about communication, you have to read your spouse and you have to know how. So there have been times in the past that I have come home from a bad day, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not just blaming you. I'm not saying you do this. But I can think of times that I have come home from a bad day and you try to spring an idea on me. Yeah. And I'm like, no, this is not the time or the place to do that. So I think that's also key in communication.
Yeah, it is.
Is knowing the time and place.
I mean, you have to learn how to read the other person and things like that. But where I was going with that is there's bad days. You have to talk about those bad days, because if you don't talk about the bad days, then your whole night could be ruined. Like, if you don't just get it out. If you just act like you're in a bad mood, then so what the problem would happen is you would come home from a bad day and you would be upset, and you weren't mad at me at all. It was just your day that went. But then I would think you were mad at me because you wouldn't talk to me. If you don't communicate about your day, then I sit here and think you did something, that I did something wrong. And then I think, well, she's mad at me and she's not going to tell me. And then I get mad at you for being mad at me for not telling me. Like, it turns into a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
And you could go down here really, really quickly.
Yeah.
The opposite flip side of that is you need to talk about your good days. Because,
Yeah.
one of the most recent things that come to mind is the other day, I don't remember what it was. It was really out of the ordinary for me. But I just had I had a really good day. I was in a really good mood for some reason. And, we were having dinner. And, I came home and I was in a good mood and we were talking. And, I'm not an emotional person by any means. And I'm not that's just who I am. I'm not emotional. I'm not a quote-unquote happy person. I'm just here. I enjoy life. I have a good time. But I'm not walking around with, a smile on my face and,
Kind of have, an RBF.
I mean, not really. Not really.
I guess you don't.
It depends
but
on
if you're
what kind
not
of-
walking around with a smile on your face.
I'm just here. I'm content. I'm not just
Okay.
bebopping down the street,
Yeah.
skipping and jumping and
Oh my
having a
gosh.
good time. I'm not in a bad mood at all. I'm just, but that day that comes to mind, I don't remember what we were doing, but I was just in a good mood. It was weird. It felt weird to me for being in such a good
You're
mood
like,
that
well,
day.
I'm happy.
Yeah, but we just talked and we had a good time hanging out with each other. So take advantage of the really good days.
Yeah,
Don't just sit
no,
on your phones.
100%.
Take advantage and communicate about when you're both having good days. That's when you spring new ideas on the other person, and
Yeah.
that's when you start talking about those things. Go
Yeah.
on a walk and say, "Hey, look, I think this is where we want to go, and this is where we want to take the business in the next 2 years, or this is what we want to do. Maybe you want to change jobs or whatever it is."
Yeah, I feel like
Talk
we've had
about it on the
several
good
of
days.
those recently. I know what they were talking about, but I can't remember what it was. 'Cause
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
We were sitting at the dinner table, and you're like, "I'm just in a really good mood today."
Yeah, I
Well,
literally
what?
said that.
And I
Those
was
words came out of my mouth.
okay. But no, and I remember not springing the whole job change on you because well, for those who don't know, I'm changing jobs and I'm going to be able to work part time soon. But having that conversation with you, we were both in a good mood, and it was a productive conversation. And I think that is key, is what, you just said all that, but I think it's key to having a productive conversation is knowing when to have it. Yeah, because if you, like you said, try to spring that on somebody and they're not in the mood or they had a rough day or
And we're gonna get so much more thrown into this when kids come. When Jack's born and you've been home with him all day, and you're just take him away, you're tired of him. And it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to learn.
Yeah.
About how to deal with that. It's gonna be something that
everything about having him is gonna be a learning curve for us.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really weird, but we're excited. It's gonna be a fun time.
Oh yeah.
One of the last things I think that we can talk about today. There's a million things we can talk about when it comes to communication, but one of the biggest ones to me is, I think, finances. And finances is something that could turn into a really good thing or a really, really bad thing.
Yeah.
You could take your business to the next level, your marriage to the next level, have a great time, or it could very quickly run you into the ground towards divorce. That's how bad it could go. So what do I mean by finances? By finances, I mean the points that I'm going to discuss at least are the business finances of if Savannah wants to see anything in that business, she gets to. She doesn't every day. She's not in the business operating every single day. But any transaction she wants to see, anywhere money is spent, she gets to do it. And I need to have an explanation for it. And when Savannah goes and you just also have to create, this is stuff that we work on all the time. It's so hard. People say, just create a budget. It's hard to create a budget being a business owner and having this and having, especially having a seasonal business.
Yes.
Having a
when your
seasonal
income
business changes
fluctuates,
everything.
It's very hard to have a set budget, which is another reason that I think I like having my paycheck. But
yeah. That's 100%. It's hard for you to budget as a business owner. I understand that because what comes in your bank account doesn't come out of your bank account to your personal account. You could run $80,000 through your bank account in a year, and you can only go home with 15 of it. So you can't budget for $80,000. You got to budget for the $15,000. And the things that we've learned. I mean, I've learned a ton the past 2 years just learning, and we're finally getting to the point hiring a bookkeeper has really helped me get to the point where we know our numbers so much more that you can create a better budget, but.
Right.
In doing that, it's still never going to be perfect, I don't think. I don't think I'm never going to know exactly how much money I'm going to have every month. We're going to forecast. We're going to be able to forecast, and our bookkeepers can do that. And just downloads for this episode, my software that we use to upload this can forecast how many episodes we're gonna have, how many downloads we're gonna have on the next episode, or on this one. I mean, so we can do that. We can forecast for July 2022 how much money we're gonna bring in, but we never know. We could get a $10,000 rock job to do, and then that inflates your numbers so much that you don't even know. So
I think it's something that you struggle with, but also like you kind of have to deal with that. Like everybody's going to deal with that in their own way. But at the end of the day, our numbers are going to fluctuate, but we have made the decision to live relatively lower than our means. Yeah. So we're not pushing it at the end of the month as far as like, oh, I thought you said you were going to make this much. Like, why do we not have it in the account?
Don't ever live at the top.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've made that decision. So that's another thing to communicate about is your lifestyle and what it's going to take to maintain that, if that's something that, is important to you. But I think kind of going back to your business account and your money, and I don't look at it every day. I don't even know the last time. I mean, like maybe a couple weeks ago I looked at it, but I think it helps. Not that I don't even know what it's all going to, but I could if I wanted to. I think creates a little bit of accountability for you because it's a lot of money that you are managing with the help of other people, professional people. I get that. But if I'm just putting myself in your shoes. If it were me and I owned a business, but I knew that you could come look at it anytime you wanted, it would make me think about the money that I was spending and the way I was spending it, because I would want you to support it and agree with it. And I trust you, so I do. But I think it helps create a little bit of accountability and allowing your partner to have access to it.
100%.
So that's what I feel. That's what I think about that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you just have to be smart about it. You have to learn how to plan. And you talk about budgeting. You got to plan for the winter. You have to plan for months off.
Let's remind people that we've been married for 2 years. So we've gone through two winters.
Yeah.
So we don't know we don't know. We try to prepare for winter. We'll, and you kind of have to do trial and error. I mean, you do what you think you can and then see how that works. Mm-hmm. And we're just trying to figure out what works best for us as far as budgeting and preparing for the winter. This winter is going to be different.
It's going to be fun, having a newborn.
Yeah, so there's no telling how that's going to look.
Maybe trying to keep the power on. But
honestly, yeah.
No, it's going to be fun. But the thing is just you got to learn how to manage your money. And we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice by any means.
No.
You just got to do what you can and do what works for you.
We're just talking about communicating.
Yeah, you just got to communicate about your finances.
I don't know how everybody needs to manage their money, but we've just learned how important it is that we communicate about our money because we view it as our money. I don't see it as my money and his money. I see it as Growing Green's money and our money. Mm-hmm. But
which is a thing. If you're running a business, that's how it should be. You should be taking stuff out
and I think we did it wrong for a little while, and we didn't view it that way.
Yeah, back at the beginning, and I think everybody does that at a certain point. You get to the point in the beginning, first 12 months, a year. 12 months is a year. 12 months, 24 months, something like that. It's going to be hard to really set yourself a salary. Should you do the best you can to try to, even if it's very minimal? Well, set yourself a salary of $50 a week and take it out if you need to. Mm-hmm. But make that owner's draw into a separate account.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just tough because
there's also those things I didn't know.
Yeah.
We were uneducated.
We literally didn't know. And so we struggled because we thought we viewed it as our money. And so we would pull from both accounts for both things, and that got messy.
Oh, yeah, very quickly.
We didn't view it, like I said, it's Growing Green and ours. We just had all this money that we were trying to manage for both ourselves and the company. And I think that was it was too much. But it's easy to do because when you're starting out, you are putting so much of your personal money into the company for it to grow. So it's hard to not be like, well, I'm putting all of my money into it. How is this not my money? You know?
And it's hard to create a budget. It's hard to pay yourself for the first 5 years of your business. From years 1 to 5 is the hardest years that you're going to face. And you're I'm still reinvesting so much. I'm not going to see the full reward of my business for the next probably 2 to 3 years before we really get to really start banking money and putting cash in the bank, because we're still reinvesting heavily. Like we just bought more equipment the other day that is going to last another 2 or 3 years. So those are things that are going to happen. And it's like you're going to reinvest. You're going to spend money, and it's going to be hard to pay yourself, and it's going to be hard to set budgets.
I think even if it's what you're saying, if it's a small amount, just get in the habit
Yeah,
of
even if it's not
having
enough.
that money separate from you and paying yourself a little bit every however often works for you. I mean, I know you can pay yourself either monthly or weekly or bi-weekly or whatever. But find what works for you and get in the habit of doing that so that it's easier to separate the two, because it's messy when you keep it all together.
Yep, and I know there's a lot of people that have stories that can probably tell us about things that they did wrong in the beginning and how finances got combined and things like that. But then there's also people who have said we've done it right from day one, and they've really propelled their businesses. So don't get behind. But we're already sitting at 35 minutes. Hope this has been some type of value episode. Hope it added a little bit of value to your day. Communication is just a big thing that we hit on all the time. We'll continue to talk about it. It will be discussed again in this show for sure.
Yeah.
Because we'll expound on another topic down the road, maybe another area of communication that we might hit on. Yeah. And it will definitely come back into play. But that's what we want to talk about today on the first official episode, I guess you could say, of Marriage Monday. So, like we said, Together in the Trades this coming week. By the time you hear the next episode, it probably will be an interview from Together in the Trades. So we're very, very much looking forward to that, looking to build a lot of relationships there and have a good time. If y'all are going to be there, reach out, let me know. Let's meet up and hang out. And like I said, we're not going to be able to pack 15 interviews into that 2 days that we're there, but we'll at least try to set up times in the future to get some of you married people on the show and talk about things that you go through with in your marriage with your spouses. So thank you again for listening to today's show. If you would leave it a rating and review, those do help. They really do help. I know we say that all the time, but they really do help and boost us out there to grow the community and reach more people. So we would love to expand this show even more and reach even a bigger community than just the green industry and what we target with the other 2 days of the week. So, Savannah, I hope you have a great week at work this week.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope you have a
Last
great
2 weeks,
day.
She's moving jobs next week.
Yes.
2 weeks. So
hope you don't get too hot, and the highs are in the 100.
The actual temperature is in the hundreds, not the heat index. The actual temperature. So that's we have it hot down here, but it's like we rarely reach the 100.
Yeah, it'll be
on the temperature.
Actual
on the
temperature
thermometer
will be 100, and then it'll feel like
108, 110, something like that, because the humidity is 75% here.
It's a joke.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So hope we survive that. But looking forward to seeing everybody at Together in Trades. It's going to be a really fun event, really fun time hanging out. Sold out event. So if you wanted to go, sorry, it's too late to go. No more tickets. But maybe next year.
Well, that means there's going to be a good group there.
Yeah, that means there's going to be that's right. It means it's going to be packed. A lot of value to be added. A lot of good speakers coming in. And it'll be a really, really fun time with some great people up there. So,
for sure.
Again, thanks for tuning in to today's show. And we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.